Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to 9yrsTV. Welcome to Plough Lane, bringing you all the build-up to AFC Wimbledon versus Crawley Town in League 2 this afternoon, as well as a whole host of other things, as today is the launch day of the Women of Wimbledon Supporters Association. So we'll be talking to members of that group, as well as some of our women's team, before we leave you about 10 to 3 to go and watch the game. I am Nick Draper. I am joined today by our director today is Mr. Stuart Deakins, to my right.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, Stu. And to my left, my far left, appropriately, George Jones, and then Tom Large as well. And we are going to bring you some team news this afternoon. Before we get to show you it, I will explain a couple of notable things. I think, Tom, is first of all, no Josh Davison again, not in the 18.
I'm not too opposed against that. I think with the run of games we've got, I think I tweeted it yesterday, we've got a run of games coming that we're not going to have Ali. I don't think we have Sam Pearson either, so we're going to be quite short on attacking options. So I wouldn't mind, completely. I'm happy completely resting him today. Hopefully with the plan for him to come back against Barrow fully fit and not the risk of him being injured from today and us having, I think, 2 attacking options plus anything from the academy.
And then the other piece of news I want to bring you is Hussein Billah is back in the squad. He is on the bench today as well. But George, we're looking at again 4-2-3-1 with Ali up top, Chislett, Pearson and McAteer probably as the 3 attacking midfielders. Centre half pairing today of Aaron Pierre and Will Nightingale. So, George, it's in some quarters this is being described as a must-win game. We don't want to go 10 without a win, do we?
Yeah, I think it's certainly we're approaching must-win stage for JJ. I don't know whether today's the final straw or not, but performances haven't been great recently. Results haven't gone our way, and today we're playing a Crawley team that hasn't won away from home all season. Has only got 4 points away from home in all those games. They're on a bad run of form. They're bottom of the form table, or second bottom. Sorry, because we're bottom. Yeah, it's very much a must-win game today for JJ, and it's interesting to see the team he's gone with to help him get that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of a bit short on options, though, aren't we, Tom? When you look, especially on the bench,
I don't think he's got much to pick from.
Yeah,
this is the worry.
And
in the position that we're in, where we're obviously approaching that 10 game without a win, you don't want to potentially maybe push the youth too much because I said to George before the game it is getting a little bit toxic around the stands. I think during the game there was a bit of animosity at the end of the game, last home game, and going off of social media, which usually isn't the best.
Sometimes not the best judge, sure.
Yeah. But again, it's a bit of definite disappointment, and I think bringing a young player into the fold for a game where they might make a mistake. They're only young. Most of them are under 20.
Yeah.
And look, firing out there, I don't think I
want to go into that atmosphere, but it's got, unfortunately, Stu, it's got sort of echoes of the second half of last season.
It definitely does. I would love to comment. I'm going to quickly just jump off screen. So today we're going to have, I'm directing, but we've got loads of guests. So I'm on the edge here. So I'm on the edge. I don't know. It's exhausting in Lady Gaga.
I thought Lady Gaga as well, worryingly. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going to quickly. We've got loads of guests. So we've got some women up from Wowser, the Women of Wimbledon Supporters Association.
Yes, Wowser.
And we've also got Hannah Billingham, Steph Mann, is that right?
Steph Mann and Lauren Allen.
Joining us. So I'm going to go and quickly do my introductions so they don't seem that they're going to be totally. But just to quickly say, I don't think it's a must-win, George. That's a bit dramatic.
In fairness to George, I posed the question. It was my suggestion it might be a must-win game, but I mean, it's difficult times, as you say, George. We are bottom of the form table. Crawley are second bottom, so anyone attending today might not be in for the most fascinating game. Yeah. I am just going to get up on my screen. Go on, George. You say what you say when I get Crawley's team.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think we are fast approaching must-win stage. Whether it's today or not is debatable. But if we fail to win today, Barrow is going to be a very difficult game, and then Rochdale at home then has to be a must-win game. So whether it's today or not, but we are fast approaching that stage of the season. And I agree with Tom. There are a lot of similarities between the toxicity we saw last season towards the end, which led to a manager losing his job, and where we are right now. We're in the same sort of stages, and I think we start to
get that point purely because you got into the 15, 16 games. Look, I'm not. I love Robo as a manager, so it's not. That's not me trying to dig him out or anything because. Look, I think he'd have done wonders with the squad we had this year, but it is getting slightly worrying, and we don't want when we are kind of such a team that base off our academy and we try and bring those players in. You want it to be as kind of supportive as possible, and that only comes with wins. So I think if we can get a couple of wins under our belt, then you start seeing the youngsters get brought in and kind of get ready for next season when you can kind of give them a full go at being part of the squad. It's good to see obviously Morgan Williams has joined Eastbourne, where we've had quite a lot of success. Obviously with, I think Alfie Bendel did quite well.
Alfie was there.
And obviously Jack Curry worked absolute wonders there. And look, I questioned whether Jack Curry would step up from Eastbourne to us and did it, pretty easily. So it's a great place for them to go, and I think Morgan Williams will develop quite a lot there.
And sorry to jump in there, but it's really important you mentioned that Eastbourne thing, because so many clubs that have established youth teams and good development records have that club that they trust to be the finishing school and implement that. And if Eastbourne can be that for us with the setup they've got there, where we're trusting them to send our high potential youngsters as that last box tick they need before being ready to jump into senior men's league football, that's a good thing. And hopefully Morgan can go there, have a good line spell, and be ready to fight for a league spot next year.
Absolutely. We are, of course, broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube, so please pass on your comments, where you're watching from, what are your predictions for this afternoon's game. Tom and I were just having a quick gander at Crawley's line today. We will comment on it a little bit more, but obviously Dom Telford starts today and is captain. He is obviously a danger man. Yes. Stu, I know, will probably lead us on to talk more about him in a little bit, but otherwise I don't think there's anything particularly surprising there. But I love it when a player just has one name. It's like a superstar name. Mazid, number 44. It's like a wrestler's name.
It's even scarier that I've not heard of him, which means that he might be good.
He might be, or he might be the new Tomaz. But I know not to insult Tomaz in your presence. I'm very sorry.
Well, we're going to quickly lead into these. So we've got quite a lot of highlights from Crawley, because we've played them twice already this season.
That was quite a good game, actually. I think I left that one happy, which
we actually beat them.
Yeah, it's actually a win.
Yeah, we played him in I was going to say the Johnson Payne Trophy. It's not that anymore, is it?
Do you know what? So Chris from the podcast, my brother Chris, he was on their podcast this week talking about travelling away from home, and he referred to it as the auto windscreen shield.
Wow. It's going back to Zenith Data.
That is really...
We go back.
Before my time, that. What is that?
Tom's like, is that a company?
That is what the current, whatever it's called, is Papa John's Trophy, yeah. No, so, the Papa John's Trophy used to be called the auto windscreen shield.
Sorry, yeah.
Yes. But anyway, as Stu said, sorry Stu, you were introducing the highlights.
Yeah, and we'll be back after that.
or do you do classes in the community? How does that kind of work?
We do, and we also bring kids here to come and have tours. We've got a 5-a-side Astro pitch where we can actually do sessions here at the ground, and we take our courses and activities out into the community as well. So we work on estates as well. We run loads of sessions at the weekends. Some are free, some are paid for sessions, and we're constantly fundraising to support our work as well.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's brilliant. So how long has the foundation's been in place? For how many years now are we looking at?
We've been going for about 8 years.
8 years, wow,
and we're
okay.
incredibly proud of the work that we
Yeah.
do. And we now moving to this stadium,
Yeah.
this incredible, you can see behind me, isn't this the best football stadium in the world? It's just so full of energy, it's so fresh, and so this has given us a massive boost. So actually the moment that AFC Wimbledon came home was the moment that we said we're taking the foundation to the next level.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, we all think your work's outstanding. Foundation's doing a fantastic job. Obviously, they're part of the process now. Of course, we're going to speak to a couple of representatives in a moment, but is the Women of Wimbledon Sports Association, which is sort of launching today.
Yeah.
Just give us your thoughts on what you think that could, how is that going to help in terms of your aims of keeping girls engaged in sport?
I'm really impressed by Jane Lonsdale, who's actually a trustee of the foundation as well, and all the women here who have just said, let's make sure that watching football is something that everybody can do on an equal playing field.
Yeah.
And that actually opening up that and actively bringing people into the club and spreading the word. There is no better feeling than coming and watching a football match together. That excitement of, hoping and dreaming, and then when it actually goes your way, it's just the best. And actually breaking down barriers again, that's what Wowser are doing. And so what an amazing moment for this brilliant club to be saying we are inclusive, we're family friendly, and we're for everybody at Wimbledon.
Brilliant. Well, Jenny, thank you very much. I mean, we are going to get some of the ladies, the women's players, on in a moment. But I think, Stu, do we have some women's highlights, perhaps?
We do. We're going to show them afterwards because we're on tight timeline.
Oh,
at
I
the
see.
moment.
There we go.
So
do you want me to
I'm
swap
going
out?
to put a graphic up so they can't see shifting off that way.
Seamless
That's
transition.
Seamless. Seamless.
But Jenny, thank you for joining us.
It was an absolute
Brilliant.
pleasure.
Thank you very much.
so much.
Thanks.
Okay, and we will be back on. We're just doing a quick changeover. As you can see on live TV, it's interesting as that. So, brilliant. So we've got. Just going to do that. These are today's fixtures, by the way. Bradford, Hartlepool are playing at the moment. On that, welcome.
Hiya.
Welcome. We're professional now. We've got mics.
Yeah, of course.
Believe it or not. So we're joined by Steph Mann, Hannah Bingham, and Lauren Allen. Good. How are you?
Doing good, thank you.
Yeah, good, thank
enjoying
you.
the day.
It's not that cold out there, is it? Look,
We wrapped up for winter.
I was going to say, it's not too bad now. The spring's coming now, isn't it? And stuff like that. How are you enjoying your day? So obviously, women at the game, which is the club are doing today. How does that mean, obviously, for women's football and stuff? How's that in terms of? I know you're going out later, but Hannah.
Yeah, so it's been brilliant. Yeah, we've actually had a women's installation shown to us today, the first one in the stadium, which is brilliant. A few women and girls have come down to meet the women's team who are here. So it's been a nice day so far.
Yeah, that's really good. And I see, obviously, you've got on there for more than 100 appearances now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 129 now, I think.
Crikey, that's a lot, isn't it? Lauren, how are you? Obviously, I see you around the Phoenix and stuff like that.
Always is.
So when I was told who was coming up, I was like, I'm in trouble now.
I'll behave, I promise.
How's it mean for you? Obviously, women's football's taken off massively now, especially at Wimbledon. Obviously, you played here a few times. What does it mean to be part of today?
Yeah, no, I think it's a massive thing to be part of today. What the club's doing going forward and the pushing that we're doing to get more women in sport and down to the ground. It's fantastic. Not only are we doing it for the men's, but we're also doing it for the women's games as well. And I think as a whole club, just in general, that we're pushing it in the right direction, and hopefully we can get the percentage up.
Brilliant. Sorry, George is trying to confuse me by doing something. George, I cannot do two things at once on that. Steph, welcome. First time here. So the women's game obviously doing really well, and also the Wimbledon first team are doing very well. Wimbledon, top of the league.
Well, we're not anymore.
Okay, that's my research gone completely.
We had a game in hand, and I think Hashtag played last night or the night before. So
did they really? I can't believe I've done my research in.
It'd be close. It'd be very close to the end of the season.
And you beat them recently as well.
Yeah, it was an amazing game. It was a 4-0 victory away from home. Played very, very well. They might say there was a lot of wind, but wind or no wind, the team were phenomenal and everyone put a solid shift.
Brilliant. And Hannah, obviously, record-wise against Hashtag is really good head-to-head, isn't it? From what I can't recall us losing too many times. Sorry, that sound here. But the head-to-head record's quite good against Hashtag, isn't it? In terms of one-on-one.
Yeah, so they haven't managed to beat us. So it's really good, yeah. And that going into the last game, we knew we had that sort of added a bit of pressure because we wanted to keep that run. But yeah, we beat them 4-0. So it's we're still going strong with that.
Obviously, it's difficult in the league 'cause there's only one up, which is crazy when you think about it in that way, because you really have to start the season at full pelt, don't you? And that's not always easy to do. And I noticed from last season, yourselves finished really strongly on that side of it. What do you think that 4-0 defeat psychologically to Hashtag? Do you think that was a really important win, wasn't it, against them? Do you think it will affect them as the season goes?
I hope so. Yeah, it's obviously it's going to add the pressure. It shows that we mean business. We're right behind them. One slip up from them, and if as long as we continue our run, we're going to overtake them. So it just adds the pressure. Brilliant.
And Lauren, still quite a lot to play for.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with our league. Only one team going up. It was all to play for, but I mean, we've just got to focus on what we do. We've got a fantastic group of players. We've got an even better group of coaching staff around us. We've got such amazing support, and I think we've just got to focus on what we do as a team and what we do as a club. And I think if we fundamentally get everything right going forward, then we should be okay.
Brilliant. Today's game against Crawley. I've been told to give you grief about Crystal Palace stuff, but as you're sitting as you're sitting right next to me, George has stitched me right up. I'm not going to be that horrible on that side of it. But what are you expecting today from the men's team here? It's a win that's needed, probably.
Yeah, we need to get a win. I think we're on poor form as Crawley are too, so it's at our home place. Hopefully, we can go out and put on a good show and come home with the 3 points.
Next manager for Palace?
Well, they're saying Roy Hodgson, and I don't agree with that. But anyway, I'm here to talk about Wimbledon, not Palace.
We're on a club channel. I can't really say what I think about that. Hannah, what are you expecting from? When's the last time you saw the men's play here?
Oh, I don't even know now. Not too long ago, but it was down here. We came down. A few of us came down actually to watch and support them. But I think today more than ever, we've got a lot of women that have come down, a lot of girls that come down. So I'm hoping we'll get the 3 points to show them how good it can be.
Definitely, and a local derby. Is it local, 20, 30 miles, Crawley, innit?
Well, I'm from Crawley, or I live in Crawley now.
I used to live in Crawley, to be fair, right round the corner from the ground, so I've got a lot of mates who are going to give me grief. Probably, I don't care too much. What are you expecting today, Lauren?
Hopefully a win. I mean, I've not been for the last 2 weeks, but it feels like I've not been here forever, but hopefully a win, and then we can all go home happy, and then we can focus on our game tomorrow. But I'm going 2-0 win, Ali's going to score first.
And tomorrow at Carshalton, isn't it, tomorrow?
Yep.
Remind me, my research has gone, who have we got tomorrow?
We've got Ashford in the semi-final.
Semi-final, it's
Of the
Capital
Cup.
One Cup. Capital
Cup
One
side.
Cup. 2 p.m. kick-off at Carshalton.
And then you're back here, aren't you? I know you're here for a couple of games for Plough Lane. I come here for the Gillingham game, the Cup game. Really enjoyed it. What I noticed, Hannah, was that lots of families and younger girls and stuff like that. And what I really loved was that after the game, went for selfies and autographs. That must be quite surreal sometimes, mustn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so I've been at the club about 7 seasons now. In the past 2 years, I'd say we're getting more and more fans coming down. It's a great atmosphere. But yeah, at the end, we do get a chance to meet all the young girls, the young boys, the parents. Get to sign autographs, get the photos taken. It's good fun for us, to be honest. But yeah, it's really nice for them as well, I think. Brilliant.
Okay, well look, I'm not going to keep you much longer, so I know you've got other duties to do. I'm going to put your highlights on from the Cambridge United, which was a 3-2 win, George, 4-3. God, my research has gone through the window here now, hasn't it? Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're going to put the highlights on now.
Just there, lovely. Just there. Brilliant. Lock it in. Get to the ball. Your bench got me in trouble, I reckon.
And welcome back. It's musical chairs this afternoon on 9yrsTV. So I'm Nick Draper back in this chair, and now we have been joined to my left by Kerry Mander and Jane Lonsdale from the Women of Wimbledon Supporters Association, launching this afternoon. Tom largely jumped on the end, just come on for the ride, Tom.
Never feel so far away.
I know, it does feel so distant, doesn't it? Long way away. We have. Stu just walked away, so I was going to play your video. I can't do that now until Stu comes back because I don't know what I'm doing. So we'll talk about it instead. So big launch then this afternoon of Women of Wimbledon Supporters Association. So Jane, do you want to start us off? Talk about how has this come to be? How has this organisation got off the ground?
Well, it's with the fantastic effort and support of some phenomenal women at the club who. It's been a sort of idea for a couple of years. Lots of other football clubs have women supporters associations, and we've worked really closely with the Football Supporters Association, who put us in touch with Women of Watford, Lady Imps, Villa Bells, Lily Whites. There's a multitude of them, and they've just been absolutely brilliant in their support in helping us to get going, along with some brilliant allies within the club who've really supported and helped us. And so we're launching today, and it's just it's an independent supporters association. It's not, whilst it's got women in the name, it's not just about women. It's open to anybody who agrees with our aims about increasing women's diversity within the club a bit more.
No, perfect, brilliant. We are going to actually look at the launch video, see what's been prepared to sort of explain more about what Wowza, as we shall now refer to, Wowza is all about. So here's the intro video. So we see the launch video for Wowza, and right, Jane, let me get this right. With 3 chief aims to encourage, support, and enhance the experience for women at games. So, Karen, can I ask you what sort of activities, what sort of things will the group be doing to try and achieve those aims? I know it's quite a broad question.
Really, we're looking to break down barriers for new fans to come into on a match day. Be a touch point for anyone who wants to come to a game. And then there's other stuff that's going on at Wimbledon, the foundation, the ladies, the girls teams. There's so much for us to tap into. Obviously, some of the stuff that goes on is sociable, just to make the stuff on the pitch a bit more bearable. So,
yes, we all need that. We all need that.
Yeah, so get some social events going, get some women together, enjoying the experience of being a Wimbledon supporter.
What are some of the issues then that sort of women face when you come into? Let's start off with the sort of opinion of a woman coming along on a match day. It could be here, could be at any football league club in the country. What sort of the issues do you think that women are facing?
So I think it's really interesting for women that have never been before, and obviously we've got the women at the game event running today, and you talk to some of those women about they don't really know what goes on beyond the turnstiles at a stadium. You can hear lots of noise if you're walking past and somebody scores, but what you do see in the press is a lot of negativity about football, and unfortunately quite a lot of that negativity is coming back. The press, you never hear about the good stuff that the foundation does, or the women's team top of the league and but you hear a lot of fans fighting or whatever, and our experience, my experience, and women that have set up Wowser wanted to kind of buck that trend a little bit and say, actually, our experience is much more positive than that. Coming to football to us, I've been coming to football for more than 25 years, and I can count on one hand the number of times that I've seen or heard abuse. And actually, in every time that's happened, men allies have stepped in and really, really helped, and that is my experience. And so I want to kind of get that message out there that coming to football as a woman is a different experience to what you might anticipate it to be. And then away games, completely different atmosphere, and attending women's games is a completely different atmosphere. So there's different opportunities for people.
I mean, Tom, that was a point you were referencing where it was about away games and perhaps what can be...
Is there going to be sort of that support for away game travel and that sort of stuff?
Absolutely,
is that kind of the plan?
That's definitely something we want to encourage, and maybe get some like a women's away day organised and get on the beer a bit. Maybe.
Well, because there's a lot of that away day culture. I think it's typical across all football clubs that people like a drink on an away day and that sort of thing. And if you can welcome people into the actual fun side of it, I always say that the worst part of an away day is usually the football. So if you enjoy being with your friends going up and down the country, then I think that kind of shows the joys of football, and that's for everyone. That's not just, it doesn't have to just be a male-dominated thing to have a beer in Stockport or something. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think there's probably we've increased the crowd here from 4,500 to 7,500. There's got to be a whole load of women in that cohort that haven't been to an away game and don't know what that's like. So if we can facilitate that, organise a women's trip to an away game, so that they feel comfortable with the travel arrangements and getting there and what it's like at a stadium and all that kind of thing. Once you've done it once, you're very likely to do it again. And as you say, it's not just about the 90 minutes of the football.
Don't expect 3 points, because I won't bring you back.
Yeah, it's much more than the 90 minutes of the day. But away days are great fun. I haven't done many this season, but have been away, with as family and as a woman on my own.
I love an away. They're great fun. But I wanted to interesting to see away from obviously Plough Lane as well, and that angle. Obviously today is women's football, isn't it? It's been. Sorry if I'm repeating things. I can't really hear because of the rugby commentary, so I'm kind of just going off.
Sorry, what was that?
Very good.
Well, no, I think we're all good. I'm just looking at some of the notes on about Wowser Care and things like that, and one thing I've picked up on is assisting the boards. I'm assuming we're talking about Don's Trust Board. I don't know how closely and stuff you'll be involved in these sorts of things, but encouraging more women to get involved on those boards. Obviously, Jane, you were a Don's Trust Board member for many years. Hannah Kitchard, I think, she's just stepped down, has she? Yeah. We've got Michelle Litter, I think, on there currently. Yeah. But I mean, Kerry, from your perspective, is that something we really need to work on to get more women into these positions?
Absolutely, we want women represented at our football club and making decisions about what's going on. Not that we don't think that we trust men to be able to do that, but obviously we want women represented, and we want it to be an inclusive environment. We want women to have a safe space to have their voices heard. The more women we have it through the door, and provide a safe space for them to have their voices heard, I think that's naturally going to filter through.
Mm-hmm. Have you been working closely then with? You mentioned Fans for Diversity in the video. Is that separate? I was confusing that with Dons for Diversity. Are they two separate things, or is that
different
things? Okay, so Fans for Diversity.
So Fans for Diversity is part of the Football Supporters Association.
Right. Okay.
So they're a particular department within the Football Supporters Association, and they've been incredibly helpful. We work really closely with Anwar Udin, who's actually recently just been announced as taking over at the FA as head of diversity and inclusion at the FA.
Okay.
And so he's going on to fantastic things, and he personally, but them as an organisation, have been really, really helpful to us.
Cool. And Her Game 2, is that someone you're affiliated with, or?
No, we're not. Her Game 2 are a completely different organisation. They're a kind of national campaigning organisation. So any club can join up to be part of Her Game 2. Women of Wimbledon, Wowser, is very much more about Wimbledon and our club and our women's support.
I mean, we were talking the other day, I can't remember who I was talking to about this. Blimey, I wish I could remember, but we're talking about many, many years ago at Selhurst Park. I think there was often conversations. We felt like we had a higher proportion of female fans than perhaps many other clubs that we saw. I don't know if that's still true or if that's something we've looked into, but it seems in terms of numbers, we've got quite a higher number, I think, than average. I'm not sure how true that is or not. That's perception. But then, again, I think that just underlines perhaps the importance of, making sure that even though we've got numbers, that everyone feels like they're comfortable and they're a part of it and things like that. And this seems like a good club for something like this to take hold in.
I do. I don't know if we've got the figures to back up anything, but absolutely, there does seem like a lot of women that support AFC Wimbledon, and it's just about celebrating that we are a welcoming environment, that we do have a lot of allies here that make it a safe space, and promoting that really.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. So what is planned for launch? I'm sure it'll be mentioned before the game on the pitch and everything before this afternoon's game, and then we've got a big women's game as well tomorrow as well to look forward to.
Yeah, the women's team are flying high at the moment. They've just gone top of the league, and I'm a men's season ticket holder and I'm a women's season ticket holder, so I go to my weekends are spent watching lots of football,
watching Wimbledon's
and they're it's a completely different atmosphere at the women's game, and it's a really inclusive atmosphere again. Many more women and families go to the women's game actually, so if you're not, if we've got anybody new wanting to come along who doesn't quite want to step into the men's game just yet, then the women's game is a really safe environment for that. And so they're doing really, really well.
Yes.
And then for Wowser, we've got we'll have some more comms coming out later on in the week or early next week. There's another video coming out which answers some of Tom's questions about away games and it's stories from different people about how they became part of supporting Wimbledon and just celebrating that. As Kerry says, it's like it's not a campaigning thing. It's about celebrating what the good stuff that AFC Wimbledon already does that people may not know about.
Well, great. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Jane, more information at wowser.co.uk?
No, wowser.uk.
Just UK. There you go. I'm living in the olden days before, wowser.uk for all information regarding everything to how to sign up and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to it. We are going to jump into highlights, I think, Stu. Team news? You put highlights up on the screen. You just do it to confuse me. Team news. Well, Kerry, Jane, we might get some your opinions on teams today as well. Very briefly, then the against Crawley with no Josh Davison again.
Oh.
No, did you not? No.
Is he injured?
He's injured.
Okay.
Again.
Is PK injured?
No. So it's if you can have it, well, I'll run you through very quickly. So it's Alexander Evan goal, Chris Gunter, Jack Curry, Aaron Pierre, and Will Nightingale back four. Alex Woodyard and Armani Little holding midfielders. Then Chislett, Pearson, the new guy,
Casey
McAteer. Thank you, Tom. And then Ali up front. But Hussein Biller is back. He's on the bench as well.
It's good to see the Loneys back.
We saw that there was a full bench, which is a great
full
thing,
bench,
right?
Yeah.
About time, isn't it?
Great thing, and lots of youth on there, which is brilliant.
Yeah. So prediction for today?
Oh man, who are we playing, Crawley? Okay, so I predict that we'll go 1-0 up, and then we'll probably the opposition will probably score at that point, so it'll be a draw. God, we've got to win today, surely.
It's got to come.
2-1 to us.
Okay.
Oh.
There you go.
Well, I think we're yet to get a prediction right, so don't worry, you're not going to
Yeah. Kerry?
I'm going to give my son's prediction, which will be something like 3-0.
Cool.
To Crawley or to Wimbledon?
To us. Yeah.
To us.
I mean, if it was me, I'd probably say we're going to go 3-0 down, but there you go.
Brilliant. Oh, ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And yeah.
And we're doing a quick changeover because we are not short on time, but interesting today. Unfortunately, Rob Boyce headache. I don't think he deliberately was trying to get out of the game, and also Spike's not with us today, so we are I say down to bare bones. We're back on the screen now, and then
Are we doing our best AFC Wimbledon impression over the last couple of months? So they're down to the literally bare bone.
It's bare bones. We don't have any subs.
There's no one buying it.
There's no one.
Our director's box is looking suspicious.
it's just typical. The day this has been planned for ages. We knew about Wimbledon game, we knew about Walser, and it's just typical when it's launched. You've got all these interviews, and and we didn't have a director, and you got me doubling up. So but hey, do you know what? We always do things on the fly, don't we, and stuff like that.
That was a nice way of putting it. Yeah.
So what we're going to do?
We've made it work, I think.
We've done it. We've it's come together. So we're going to have a look at fixtures, are we, Stu?
Yeah, we're going to do the fixtures. So Nick will do these through because we got Bradford are playing Hartlepool at the moment. So George is going to give us the latest score. I know.
Come on, George.
Do a little prediction game for that as well.
Interesting one today. Carlisle versus Stevenage.
Yeah.
That's a real biggie, isn't it? In terms of Carlisle at home, Harrogate against Barrow, Orient against Colchester.
2-2.
2-2. It's a Desmond.
At half time. No, 5 minutes to go. Blimey.
You got Stockport.
Andy Cook brace. There are certain things in life.
Scoring goals.
Death taxes and Andy Cook scoring in the season.
Stockport home to Mansfield. That's an interesting one.
Yeah. Sold out at Stockport today.
Oh really?
Yeah. Sell out.
Is it?
It's not. It's not
Manchester, isn't
it?
it?
Too far a distance, or is it for Mansfield fans?
And obviously with that, Crawley, position-wise, we dropped down to 16th, 43 points. Crawley, 4 games and 29 points. So, I suppose, question-wise, must win for Crawley, isn't it?
Well, I'm just wondering because Crawley haven't won away from home in the league this season, but they've got 7 wins in the league, so they've won 7 home games, which is probably more than we have.
Do you know what that means, though? We love giving points to teams that haven't won away.
Don't say this. I know this is true.
They're bottom of the league in really poor form, or second bottom, sorry, in really poor form. Haven't won away. This is the exact type of game where historically we struggle.
Screams an own goal and probably a red card.
Well, let's have a look at the. We've got some stats. Tom and I mentioned that the biggest threat Crawley have this season, probably so far, is Dom Telford. But before we get onto him, a quick look at the stats, and we can see the head-to-head records. Scott Lindsay, of course, is the man you can see there, Crawley town manager at current time.
He looks very angry. But then so would I if I gave up a Swindon position.
Good mid-table, safe job.
Do you know what? The interesting thing is, no winning 18 games away. That's basically all season. On that side of it, only 6 points gained away and not scored in the last 4 away.
So
it's a goal fest.
Yeah,
it's going to be so many goals today.
This is going to be a 3-1 or something, isn't it?
I'm just interested. Sorry, I was just looking at some of the comments as we're looking there.
I saw that.
I mean, Robbie Jack is not optimistic, saying anything but 3 points today.
It's not an awful bet because in the last 9 games.
It's not an awful bet at all, I suppose, when we talk about options on the bench as well for us. But again, just looking at those stats there, as you see, goals conceded away from home, 31 goals conceded away from home. That is mad. So, well, we'll see how we get on. It feels like a big day for them. They're not filling up the stadium just yet, but it feels like I sense from Crawley, having won last week at home to Harrogate, they're thinking that if they get a win today, then they really are on the road to staying up.
Yeah, especially with those games in hand.
Yeah, the games in hand is massive.
And good link in there, George. I mean, I'm quite impressed. You linked in without actually seeing it. But yeah, do you know what? Their games in hand. The interesting thing is, the interesting thing, their games in hand. Only 3 are away from home.
Yeah.
They have a hell of a lot of home games.
How many have they got in hand? Is that their last set?
Yeah, this is the last.
3 games in hand. I was like, wow.
And a lot of them are at home.
They're all at home.
Wow. So I sort of go along the line of, is it a must-win for them today? But actually, I think they'll probably take a point today, bearing in mind their games are. I think they've got Hartlepool away, which of course,
0-0.
Is today one of those where it started off at the day as you take a point, but seeing that Hartlepool look like they're going to come back from Bradford with something? Does that change it? Because that's a result that implies that Hartlepool have picked up a bit.
Do you know what? That's a great question in the sense of I always wonder what teams do. Do you reckon they're down in the dressing room right now, Crawley, watching and following what's happening?
They won't. From what I know about what other managers and things do, the coaching staff will know, but they won't let the players
know. That seems to make sense.
I feel like give them more firepower though. If I knew I had to win, I'd probably.
But does it change your mentality, as George says? Do you come into a game thinking of something else and then changing it at a last minute? Does that mess things up for you? I don't know. Well, we talk about players and not minutes for one of their players. We've mentioned him once again. Let's get to him. Dom Telford. He's not actually from Telford. He was born in Burnley, and he is 26 years.
It's mad when you think about it, because he's not old, is he? Like he's not really.
Is he on loan from Plymouth? Or that you got him permanently?
No, he
Am I
was-
thinking of someone else? They've got Luke Jeffcott, haven't they?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe so.
But if you think about it, I think he went for a fee, didn't he, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but he's probably
yeah.
not hit his prime yet. If you're looking that way on that side, obviously that's with his goal. I think he got in the team of the year or top goal scorer and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
he was at Newport, wasn't he, last year?
he's a threat. There's no doubt about that. He's a threat. I don't think he did as well when he started off, didn't he? I'll just make sure he's playing today.
Oh no, he is. He's captain today. Yeah, 100%.
Well, yeah, he was captain before, so.
They've got quite a lot of attack. I mean, obviously not a great deal of attacking because they're near the bottom, but they have got some players that kind of stand out. For example, Ashley Nadesan, who had a good time in the FA Cup.
So the comment there from Marco 9. I got to brag that AFC Wimbledon entered UEFA Champions League in the year 2034 in my long-time football manager 23 save. Well,
That is a long time. I'm only in 2025, so he's doing well.
That is mad.
I was going to say, like,
progress.
So basically, like Hussein Byler and Jack Curry would be like the
Managers.
experienced players, wouldn't they?
The managers, wouldn't they? Yeah.
They might be even coaching by now.
Yeah, could be.
Alex Witchell's got a coach on my FM save.
Has he?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know in the old
Unemployed.
days-
this
You look overjoyed with that.
In the old days of football management simulations, players, when they got to a certain age, they'd retire, and you get a message saying such and such is retired and now owns a pub, home guilties.
Yeah.
And now it's all that they become managers and things. But
They all
anyway,
literally every single one of them becomes a sports scientist or a coach. That's
yeah,
it.
something like that. Cool. Right. Well, we are probably going to have to shoot off to get into a position for this afternoon's game. So thank you very much for joining us. Before we go, we are going to get some scoreline predictions. Stu on the podcast this week. Still available at 9yrsPodcast.org. You went for a 3-1 victory for us. Oof. Have you seen anything to change your mind with the team news?
The last couple of games.
Nah, do you know what?
The last 2 months.
They concede a lot of goals,
do.
and it might, if we weren't scoring goals, I'd be worried. But we are scoring.
But we also
we're scoring
concede a lot of
one.
goals.
Yeah, but we're scoring the one goal. But you're not scoring goals.
Yeah.
I just think if we got the early goal today, which I think is, I don't think the book is giving you odds on the first goal today for us. I think we would probably got more chance of getting the second and stuff. That's my logic.
I wish they would give
if
you the
there's
odds.
any logic in any football thing at all.
I wish they would give you the odds. 'Cause I've got some makings up from Cheltenham last week. So that was my banker.
Gamble responsibly. Everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
When the fun stops.
When the fun stops. What's your prediction then for scoreline today?
I think everybody just to lose, so I'm going to predict just to win again.
Good.
1-0.
1-0.
I'm going Casey McAteer.
You haven't got a
From
name goal
distance.
scorer. You don't get any bonus for that.
No.
He does on the bet side to make.
I think I'll go for Al Hamadi hat trick. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, there you
George.
Just to bring everyone back down to earth, 2-1 defeat.
2-1 defeat, George. You're Mr. Positive.
Anyone?
What happened in the summer, George? You were positive. We were going in that 27 games unbeaten, and everyone were like, going to win today, you're going to win today. And then this season, it's like the complete
We've lost.
reverse.
We've lost.
Yeah, what's happened?
How can you predict a defeat?
Because Alfred Bender's not starting. That's why.
1 second,
Oh, yeah,
right?
that's good.
He's predicting a defeat against a team that's bottom, haven't won away all season.
Second.
Sorry, second bottom. They're in the away chart, they're bottom, I'll get away with that. Not scored in 4 games away, and you just said we're going to lose 2-1.
Yeah.
It's the Wimbledon way.
It's the Wimbledon way.
Mine was logic. I don't
If they were a
understand.
mid-table team,
It's like a mic drop,
yeah,
isn't it?
if they were a mid-table team on a good run, I'd be more positive. But if this is the exact sort of game we lose,
Like, I had logic. I don't know where you... Well,
Well,
we'll talk about it after the final whistle on the post-match show.
you can't... Yeah, true.
whatever happens this afternoon, you'll be able to follow it if you are overseas on iFollow. But if you're in the UK, you can follow our Twitter updates at 9yrsPodcast and at AFC Wimbledon. We'll be back after the game with whatever happens. Hopefully we'll have 3 points to...
I'd like a 3 points to talk about. It's so depressing at this point.
It's been 2 months.
I walk in and go, yeah, we lost again.
every
We haven't
Monday.
had
Deja
any
vu,
post-matches
innit?
ever that we're going to have to
Yeah, it's
discuss
true.
3 points.
This is very true. So hopefully today is the day. But thank you very much for joining us, and remember to come back after full time.
Please.
Please.
Please come back.
You